at this particular thing, everybody's being interviewed by media. My question is if you're getting interviewed by media, who is really out there searching? And then we find out that they don't start until after 10:30. And they stop around 3. It's like they're not even giving this 100%. They're barely doing what's necessary. They're doing whatever's getting them enough attention to get them a click and a view and a name in a newspaper. And I'm sorry. And the bad part is Seth is hook, line, and sinker in this organization. And it's so sad because I don't see, I don't know. It's a big no for me. And I'm pretty sure for the rest of the people like me, it's a big no for them too. And I don't want anybody to stop searching for Seth or Sebastian. So we're kind of in a pickle here. What do you do? Have they gone yet? Hold on here. Let me read some. Good morning. Good morning, guys. Yes, the Sebastian, Seth did go on Nancy Grace. I feel so bad for Seth. Seth breaks my heart. You feel his pain. He's crying. He's emotional. He just wants answers to his boy. He wants to know what happened to his boy. And while we have no real information, and we can all have our opinions about Chris Proudfoot and Katie Proudfoot, there's nothing saying that they did anything either. I mean, I just want to make sure that it's clear. That's all what we feel, because their behavior is odd. But just because their behavior is odd, that's not enough for guilt. If you really want to think about it. So I don't know. It's been reported that's not the real Cajun Navy. Please make sure you do your research before you do. Right, they're a branch of the Cajun Navy. My understanding is that this particular branch of the Cajun Navy is just really a horrible branch. They've been sued several times. They haven't something about the proceeds. I'm not getting all up in their crawl. I don't want to ruin this organization. I just don't want anything to do with them, and I don't think that they have the necessary. I mean, it seems very disorganized and dysfunctional. Doesn't seem professional is all I'm trying to, bring up. I mean, I don't know. I'm not out there. I'm not physically out there. I'm just saying that there are several people from both of these stories from Riley Strain. Like the people are coming forward from Riley Strain saying that the United Cajun Navy hijacked their work and didn't give them credit for it. Like they weren't there with the Cajun Navy. They were there with their own channels. They were there on their own time. They coordinated their own people to be on their own boats and stuff like that, that they were going out there and all this other stuff. And Cajun Navy is saying that those are their guys, and it wasn't their guys at all. They literally lied. So my question is, why are they having to lie about this stuff? I can't work with an organization I don't know who they are. I'm not putting, I am adamant that when we work with people, we promote people, we give businesses and organizations a plug. They have to be legitimate plugs. They have to be legitimate. I mean, I'm not saying this organization isn't legitimate. I'm saying they're lying about everything, even their history. That makes me not want to work with them. It's sad. They're not the real Cajun Navy, and that's the end of the day. They literally went on Nancy Grace and stole Cajun Navy 2016 story and passed it off as their own. And up until this case, nobody knew that there were multiple branches of this Cajun Navy. And Cajun Navy 2016 is the original Cajun Navy. This United Cajun Navy, even though they went on Nancy Grace and said they were formed during Katrina, that was an absolute lie again. This United Cajun Navy was not formed until 2018. They lied again. And you know why people are hesitant to volunteer with them? The last time it was like Sea Corps or something like that, they were out there. They ended up trying to put protective orders on their volunteers. So, and they had this whole court thing that went on for years because of how they treated their volunteers that were trying to expose their business practices way back in 2018 when they started. And they were met with restraining orders, protective orders. These were volunteers, again, volunteers. And so we hear that, and then other volunteers are going out here to Sebastian Rogers' case, and when they show up to volunteer, they're met with law enforcement after reading about how they put protective orders on these 8 other volunteers back in 2000. It makes people feel uncomfortable. I'm not going out there to get arrested. I'm not going out there to get a protective order. I just want to search for a boy. Why gatekeep? It's exactly. Oh, Nicolina. Wow. I didn't know you were on TikTok. That's funny. It's nice to see you. Okay, no one is telling you to work with them. Right. No, and I'm not going to. I'm not working. If they had a better reputation, I might be able to look past some things, because to be honest with you, I'm not there. They're not doing it to me, but they're doing it to people. And this one lady went there, she went there from, I want to say a couple states over, and to hand out flyers and stuff like that. And she felt like she just wasted her time because she went out there and nobody was doing anything. So she just grabbed a stack of flyers and started handing them out. It's like really dysfunctional. I'm sorry. That's just really dysfunctional. The real dad did it. I don't think the real dad did anything. I think that real dad is just broken, to be honest with you. But, we don't know. We can all have our opinions. None of us were there. But Betty, they even called the police on Dolly. Oh, wow. Oh, hey, Jules. It's nice to see you. I didn't know they called the police on... Actually, I think I did hear that. I think I did say that. There's been so much stuff going on. I've been reading this stuff, and I'm just kind of floored about it. The parents are guilty. I think the parents are showing definitely unusual red flags with their behavior, mom leaving. I think mom really did herself a disservice. I think she's trying to protect Chris. And the only reason I say that is because Chris had all these scratches on him. It's pretty odd to have a boy missing and all these scratches up and down your arm. It just doesn't look good. So, I think in her haste to protect Christopher, I think she might have backed herself in a corner, because now she's the only person that was alone with him. Now people are criticizing, literally, and analyzing everything. And I believe they, I could be wrong, but I believe people are even saying they never saw Sebastian that evening, that she actually pulled her vehicle inside the garage and shut the garage before anybody got out, allegedly. I don't know how true that is. It's not a corgi. He said that his corgi did this. They're not corgis. They're called Morkies. They're mini Yorkies. Let me see if I can find a photo of what the dogs look like. Give me just a second. I've got a photo of them. It's going to be hard for me to show you, but I will make it. I'm getting close to it. Give me just a second. All right, we're getting close. We're getting close. Come on, come on. Lordy, lordy. Hold on, let me open my... I know I have it. I've posted it up here several times. There it is. So these dogs right here, these are the Morkies. They're Morkies, and I'm assuming that means mini Yorkies, because she calls them a Morkie, not Corgis, Morkie, because they're Yorkies. They're mini Yorkies, and these are the. Let me put this on a reel. Hold on, maybe I can do it this way. And look at these scratches on his arm. I mean, these are pretty. That doesn't look like those little dog scratches. Look how wide apart those are. And there's bruising around them. Some people believe that it's bite marks, So I really don't know. Let me get a darker background. I can't hardly see the chat. Just bear with me. There we go. That's a darker. Let me see here. Mom did something horrible and Dad cleaned it up. That almost sounds like Summer Wells. That's almost how I believe what happened with Summer Wells. I don't know much about this mother, but and I don't really like to listen to gossip and stuff, because there's a lot of gossip about these cases, right? And just because it's gossip doesn't make it true. And, so there's a lot of people talking about the mom drinks an awful lot. I keep wondering, would she? And the answer is yes. People, could she? Yeah. Her husband's, she'd be a prime candidate for having a drinking problem, right? She's got an autistic child. Her husband's away for weeks on end, leaving her home alone to deal with, some of the things that come with, raising a teenage boy with disabilities. So, she really would. She has a lot of the key ingredients for somebody that would overindulge in something. But that doesn't necessarily mean that she does. She's going to end up turning on him to get a deal. Maybe. But see, he has the scratches on him, and that's the problem I'm having, because if we applied that, the mom was home alone, the mom, and something happened while the mom was there, then I would have expected mom having the scratches and bruises on her arm, not Chris. But Chris is the one with the scratches and bruises. Excuse me. He also, Nancy Grace specifically asked them if forensics were used in the house, and they tried to allude that forensics were used in their home, and we're learning that there were no forensics used in that home at all. They've searched the home multiple times, but it sounds like it was a surface search. It wasn't a forensic inspection. So we still don't know if anything could have happened in the house. The house was in order, the house was clean, but even blood splatter evidence, that is microscopic, and sometimes you can't see any of that until you do forensics. So even though the Proudfoots have alleged or eluded that there was forensics used, I never seen them, because this is what they do. This is one of the key ways that I always can tell if somebody is getting luminoled. They tape up the windows. If you guys are ever at a scene and you start seeing black plastic bags come out, and you start seeing the windows being covered up with these dark black plastic bags, they're doing forensics, because they need that room to be ultra dark when they apply that chemical for the luminescent purpose of it, because a lot of people believe that it just lights up like a Christmas tree. And while that's true in many cases when there's a large amount of blood present, it's not that way. Oh, thank you. It's not necessarily that way when there's little bits of evidence that just very lightly everness, that illuminates. So you need that really, really dark room so you can find every bit of spatter or any other type of evidence that might have been placed on shoes, fingerprints, stuff like that. She helped him do something to him, a thin look at him. There's something, I don't know. Both of them, when that first interview, I don't know what it was. It was that first interview. It was almost like spooky for me, that very first interview where he was wearing that green shirt where he had the scratches on his arm. It was just the way they talked that made me believe that they know he's not, like they were trying to convince themselves that something good was going to come of this. And that's what bothered me, because they're like, he's going to have more friends than he knows what to do with. And I found that statement odd, while most people didn't, but I personally did. I found that statement odd because I found that statement not reassuring for him. It was almost reassuring for them. Like he's going to be, he's going to have the most friends he's ever had. Like they're convincing themselves of this stuff. And that's when I heard that. That's when I felt, I don't know, odd. That was a red flag for sure. Yeah. They need to check the house and the vehicles. Exactly. And now they took off in the RV. The RV was what Chris is saying that he, and listen, Chris said, and I don't know, I get a little more skeptical as the time goes on, because Chris said that he offered to take a polygraph test, and law enforcement didn't want him taking a polygraph test, even though he offered. And Seth basically said the exact same thing, that law enforcement didn't want, I guess because of where he was. So it almost implies that Chris truly was in Memphis when all of this happened. So I don't know. I just would like law enforcement just to give us a heads up. But, if they give us a heads up on whether they think the parents are responsible or not, then, that's going directly to the integrity of the investigation. And I just don't see them doing that. I really don't. So they went and bought a motorcycle and went on a ride and took off. Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. That's what I don't trust about them. But, that is, again, behavior, red flag behavior, but no evidence, no corroborating evidence that they did anything to this boy or had any hand in his disappearance. It's suspicious, but it's not, it didn't seal the fate. There's nothing here. They need evidence. And right now, that's what they're lacking, linking evidence to them. So, we can feel however we want to feel about the parents, and we can have the suspicion, lingering feeling in our gut about Chris and Katie. But if there's nothing to support those gut feelings, and like I said last night, what bothering me the most about this particular case, the Sebastian Rogers case, is the fact we work in Tennessee a lot. And we've got several active and open cases, and none of them are being closed. And the key reason why they're not being closed is because none of them have bodies. And so if we can't find Sebastian, you bet your butt this is going to be no different than a Summer Wells case. And that terrifies me. That terrifies me. I know it's Soul Shine. It's a problem. I tell you what, it's a problem even for me. I think when I was talking about Riley last night, somebody was in the chat talking about a reward, and I couldn't remember if Riley Strain had a reward or not. I thought it was a significant amount of reward, but I guess not. Apparently, there was no reward offered, according to who was in my chat. I couldn't remember. I'm not going back to look it up. It doesn't mean it doesn't bother. It's not something that I'm worried about one way or another. But you're right. We get so many cases that. Some of the facts kind of run together. That's why I have to always have notes, and I got notes on my computer. I got notes written down. I try as hard as I can to remember this stuff, but there's a lot, and it's sad that there's a lot. There's no reward, but the parents got over $1 million in Eagle Fund. Yeah, I know. But no, there is a reward. There's a small reward for Sebastian Rogers, but I even complained about that because we see the lofty lifestyle his mom and stepdad live. I mean, with all their house, their cars, and all their toys, you've got well over $1 million worth of stuff there. Well over $1 million. And they've got like a piddly $3,500 reward, which, I mean, rewards are rewards. I should, don't get me wrong. Any reward's better than no reward at all, right? But it seems disheartening because of their vast wealth that is obviously apparent and such a small, it just appears that they're not really trying to get information because everybody knows the larger the reward fund, the more tips that come in. So, oh, she meant the GoFundMe. Oh, I don't know about the GoFundMe. I think Seth has a GoFundMe. The only one that I'm aware of is the one that Seth has, and they're expanding that out just a little bit more. He's been taking a significant time off work for his son, and, he still has bills to pay. Like, the bill collector doesn't care whether you're missing a kid or not. Neither does the government, right? Sad. Ever since the stepdad said he pours cement, I know that was the craziest statement I had ever heard in my life. Like, he's, but some people just don't know how to talk publicly. And not only that, but in all fairness, we overanalyze every single statement, right? So, I mean, somebody could be talking about a mohawk, right? Like literally a mohawk. And by the time we're done analyzing what they said, we've got an eagle flying in the sky, No offense, but I mean, in all reality, this is social media, right? That is kind of what we do. Card says the parents are innocent. I hope they are. I never want to think of a child being harmed by their parent, but we are true crime, right? And it's as unfortunate as it is in a lot of these cases, it ends up being the parents or somebody very close to that child. I mean, that's just it's as unfortunate as it is. There is a lot of cases like that. I mean, to be honest with you, when it comes to these kids, we have very little stranger danger. Think about it. Think about the last few cases we've covered of children. Stranger danger wasn't even, it's not even a consideration. So even with your own knowledge of that, we think, I don't know. It's just, this is true crime, and in most of these cases, we know that it's somebody that was close to that kid. I mean, statistically, and they're removing every other person besides the family. I mean, the family's doing that themselves. They've removed all threats. They basically said he doesn't have friends. He's not associated with social media. He's monitored very closely. He's got a lot of different parental protections on his phone. He does go on YouTube, but he just watches videos. He doesn't communicate with people. So, is there any ring cameras? Yeah, there's some cameras in the neighborhood, which is really odd but we don't know what law enforcement has. They're not really telling us much of anything. So they're wanting the public's help to search, but we're flying in the dark because we don't really even know what areas to search. I've looked up and down the entire map of the area. I looked up and down, obviously we have to look at the step-parents, the stepfather, the mom, as well as the father. To be honest with you, we can't just dismiss one, right? I mean, we got to look at all of them. It's only fair, and it gives us a good lay of the land. Now, I don't believe Seth has anything to do with this. I want to be very, very clear. But law enforcement hasn't told us that he was where he said he was. So in all fairness, I mean, if we're going to be fair about the whole entire situation, we're looking at everybody. There's nobody that's not being looked at. There's 3 key players in this story, in my opinion. Because of the information we have, we've been told that he doesn't have friends. We've been told he's not on the internet. So that eliminates those threats. And so now we just have the people that knew him best. So in my opinion, that would be mom, dad, and stepdad. So it's almost like a whodunit between them. But could it be something else? Listen, guys, I don't know. People are bringing up this other relationship that Katie Proudfoot had with somebody in the community. I don't necessarily believe it. I think that, an abused woman is an abused woman. She would be terrified to even look in the direction of another man. But, Chris was gone for weeks on end. Is it possible? I don't know. But if it is possible, if it did happen, could that other guy be the one that harmed Sebastian? If we looked at that theory, okay, yeah, maybe. But I don't believe Chris got those scratches from the Morgies. The Morgies. I mean, these hands on these dogs are this big. His scratches are wider than that. Oh, thank you, CJ. Y'all can't be planning evidence for... Michelle, you know what? I would say do better research, because everybody keeps talking about this water bottle. You need to call the FBI and do your own record request. You'll find out that you are spreading misinformation. For what? For what? We don't like misinformation, and we don't like people with petty bullshit personality problems. If you don't like my channel, get the fuck off. It's pretty simple, and that's how I talk to people. So if you want to come in here and come at me in a nice way, I'm happy to. Like over on my YouTube channel, the only rule over there is don't be a dick. Stepdad and mom are the only ones that did not go out looking for him. And like I said, their behaviors, Sheena, I agree with you 100%. Their behaviors are what's making me feel like they could be guilty, right? But I'm in true crime, so we need a little more than could be. We got an angle, right? We're focusing on them. We're focusing very heavily on them because of their behavior, right? Their behavior's off. We know their behavior's off. They were the last ones to see Sebastian. Obviously, these are major issues. We kind of get how this stuff works, right? So we are heavily looking at them because of this behavior. But so far, we have no Sebastian. We have no forensic testing that has been done. So if we have no Sebastian and we have no forensic testing that can be done, we have no evidence pointing one direction or another.